Hey, happy Thanksgiving, everyone. Well, a little bit afterwards, but I am here. I'm at my parents' house. I'm visiting family. It's been wonderful to get to be home and to get a little bit of R&R, but as I'm kind of enjoying the holidays, as I'm getting ready to revamp, hitting back out on the road, I want to share how I've been able to almost for like a year and a half get to be like a missionary. I have not been plugged into the system. I don't have the same traditional bills. I've just been really getting to do all the things that I love. And it's been just such a blessing. So I'm going to explain how to do this, how I've done it all. But I'm going to explain this in principles more than a specific method. So I'm going to give 4 steps. So here we go. I'm going to talk kind of fast, and I'm going to try to give quality. So I don't know how long this will be. But I'm putting quality over time constraints. So first off is you need to know what your skills and gifts that God's given you are and what you're passionate about. And it's important that you think in terms of R versus B. Don't think I could be passionate about this. It needs to be more I am passionate about this. Like, for example, if you had something that you've loved since you were a kid, just undeniably you can't, hunting, for example, it's just for whatever it is in your bones, you love hunting, and it's undeniable. Maybe that's your thing. But to sit there and if I'm like, hey, learn guitar, that'll help you pay for some of this. Well, you could be like, yeah, I can be passionate about guitar, but that may not be right. And then the other thing is, it's important that you know what you suck at. like there will be an element of good to the right answers, and there'll be an element of like suck to the bad ones. So for example, like I can't play drums, but I love drums. In fact, sometimes I love drums or bass more than in songs more than I love the guitar parts, and I'm obsessed with some of that stuff, but my brain can't handle the multitasking needed for drums. I'm just not wired that way. So that's where it's time to admit like something you're not. It's just not your gift. And you see this a lot. Have you ever met people, I think the number one time you see it is people who can't sing good, but they want to sing. Have you ever noticed that? Maybe I'm even one of those who knows, but like you got those people who just, they can't sing good and they just try so hard and they'll sing near you and they'll force you to listen to them. And you're like it's just, oh, it's so bad. And they just want to be good at it so bad. That's what I'm talking about. So there will be an element of M or R, not B. So don't think what you can be passionate about or, ooh, I could be this, that it doesn't work that way. Okay, so option number 2. You're going to have faith. You got to trust God. Like, you can't eliminate that out of the equation. And I want to read probably the most relevant scripture to just all of this. And it almost has defined this whole mission. Okay, so there's a guy named Elijah. He's a prophet. And it says, God tells him to go live by a brook. And it says that the ravens brought him bread and meat in the morning and bread and meat in the evening. And he drank from the brook. All right, then right after that, sometime later, the brook dried up because there had been no rain in the land. And the word of the Lord came to him. Go at once to Zarephath in the region of Sidon and stay there. I've directed a widow there to supply you with food. Okay, so he goes from being fed by ravens to now there's a widow who's going to take care of you. And then when he meets the widow, she's like, I don't have enough food to feed either of us. All she has is a small little jar full of flour and a small little jug thing full of oil. And then what he ends up saying is, he says, as surely as the Lord your God lives, she replied, I don't have any bread, only a handful of flour in a jar, etc. And Elijah said to her, don't be afraid, go home and do as you have said, but first make a small loaf of bread for me from what you have and bring it to me, then make something for yourself and your son. For this is what the Lord, the God of Israel says, the jar of flour will not be used up and the jug of oil will not run dry until the day the Lord sends rain on the land. So essentially this woman now who's taking care of Elijah has this unlimited supply of food, and it just magically, miraculously, whatever word you want to use, never ran out. So that is essentially what has happened. Because I wish I could pinpoint it to like, hey, I paid for it because I was regularly playing guitar, but I wasn't. And there was weeks where I didn't pick up a guitar once. Or I could sit there and say it was social media, but sometimes it wasn't. And provision came from all these crazy outlets. I so badly wish I could just say, hey, if you create a website, that'll pay for everything. But that's not true. And I would sit there and say, you should try to use social media. I don't have that many followers. And in fact, some of the people I even am connected with on social media have more friends than I do. And if I were like, hey, try making a website, they may not see the same success in certain areas. All I can tell you is if you, like, God just will provide. Like, that whole concept of having faith, it's real. So you gotta have faith. You have to trust the Lord. You really have to believe in Him. And He can, if He wants to, birds of the sky will come and drop food off in your lap. And in some crazy ways, I've seen that stuff, like ways where I was fed and provided for. I had like this bank account, and once all the money ran out, I just hovered at around like a few $100, sometimes down to zero, but it just never ran out this entire time. And every need that I had has been met. And so I'm just saying, one way or another, God provides. Okay, element number 3 is it says a tree will be judged by its fruit. You got to judge when something's working or not. If something's not working, because you can have an idea in your head that, ooh, I want to do this, and I think that the Lord has called me to be successful selling this thing or doing this job, and etc. It may not be true. It may be in your head. Like, in the thing is, you have to judge the fruit. So you can be like, I feel God has called me to be a stay-at-home this, or to quit working this job, or to whatever. And that can, oftentimes it can be in your head. You got to judge it against Scripture, and you got to judge the fruit of it. Because if you 100% for sure in your head think that God has led you to this path, but things are getting worse and worse and worse and worse, it's time to do some realistic analyzation and use your logic and just be like, you know what? Things in life right now are not growing, or the people around me are being affected negatively, or my own life is being affected negatively. I'm not saying that, and maybe that is meant to happen, or maybe there'll be a growth, but just always judge yourself. Always judge the fruit of what you're doing. And if the Lord is with it, things will be blessed. There will be a correctness to it all, if that makes sense. Okay, and the last thing is community. We're a team. Reach out to your community. It doesn't matter how big it is, and it doesn't matter. It's not that you need a lot of people in your life, or you need a lot of friends, or you need a lot of social media, whatever. Like, I mean, when I didn't even have an Instagram until this thing started, and it's only grown to a few hundred friends. So it's like, believe me, don't think numbers matters. It doesn't. Community, the people of God, the biggest allies I've had through all this, who've sustained me emotionally, people who've even contributed financially, people who've just contributed with just laughing and joking, and the people I've gotten to meet, have coffee with the friends I've made, etc. Don't underestimate the power of community. Scripture talks about it all the time. So you got, like, seek your Christian community. Don't be, and when I say seek that, I'm not talking in a financial way, and I'm not talking about it in a begging way. I'm not talking anything like that. I'm just simply saying, sometimes what will sustain you, you think you might need money, and in reality, what you just need is someone to be like, you know, hey, the Lord just wanted me to tell you, you know, stay strong out there. And that may be 10 times more precious in that moment. So it's a lot of the needs you need will be met through the community. You see this in the early church in Acts. So that's just the 4 principles. I hope this stuff helps you. Just remember, like, what have I done? I try to play music. I try to do forms of evangelism. I've been trying to film some of this stuff. I created a website, but will that work for you? Not necessarily. And those are surface level. Think a layer deeper, go deeper. And the principles of what I'm doing are just some of the stuff I've listed right here. So I want to share with you the layer deeper so that your step up will fit your own stuff. But again, don't settle for this life. Don't listen to this world. Don't conform. Don't settle. Don't settle. That is the death of your soul, and your very existence will be wasted. And your answers can't be 100% what someone else tells you to do, because on your deathbed, they're not going to be there for you to blame and gripe to if you're not happy with how your life played out. So that's my encouragement for you guys. Love you guys, praying for you. Always remember, read Scripture. This is it. This has all the answers. Everything I just talked about is from this. I didn't invent any of this stuff. It's just Scripture. And of course, hey, like, comment, whatever. And if this helped and you want to kick a little donation my way, visit MissionMike.com. Or if you want some more help or have additional questions, reach out. But I love you guys, praying for you. Hope you had a great Thanksgiving. Talk to you soon.